Meow. So this is going to be a bit of a different stream. So yesterday I did my first ever Fortnite tournament, and I didn't do so great in it, but that's okay. I am going to reflect on what I learned from that experience and actually go back and review my video from yesterday. So at the end of my streams, I like to do like a little reflection on like, well, how long did I stream? What did I stream? What was the quality of it? Like, how was the quality of my streaming? How was the quality of my gameplay, etc.? But I added in here a tab that is going to keep track of tournaments in terms of like how I'm doing on it. So, for example, yesterday was nope, not that. It was solo. I was messing around with the settings to make sure it fit within that frame. So yesterday I did the solo contender, so not in the championship league yet. My worst placement was 71st out of 100. And then my best one was 12th, so I got 0 wins. I got 5 eliminations, and then overall my placement points was 37. So down a little bit further, I've got on here, okay, actually let me do this, make it a little bit easier for you to see. What are the individual rounds that I did? Like, how did I place? In overall, my average was lower than the 50th mark, so I guess that's okay, at least for this starting tournament, the first one that I've ever done. I'm obviously going to work on lowering this number and improving this over time. So what I'm going to do is actually watch the previous streams that I was doing yesterday and try and figure out, okay, when I killed somebody, what worked well with that? What did not work well? What could I improve? And then when I lost to somebody else, what happened there? Now, when reflecting on this morning, it might actually be easier to just go and watch the actual gameplay footage, so to have it record. But I don't have the PC to really run that right now. I'm getting a new one in May, so I look forward to doing that. And I'll have a gaming PC and then a separate streaming PC. So then I'll actually be able to potentially record stuff while I'm playing without it affecting things. But because I'm running like the random sound effects like that in the background and Streamlabs and Fortnite like all on the same PC, I just can't really do that quite yet. Okay, so let's pull this up, and let me switch back to here so you can see this. So we're going to go to the first marker that I put in here. So I saw footsteps, started shooting. See you. Ooh, good shot. Okay, so now I'll see what my reflection was. That one, I don't know. I really wish I had a shotgun. But what happened on that is I thought they were down a level, and in fact they were to my left, so I totally messed that one up in terms of just losing track of where they were. So that was just my bad. Hi, respect to you. Okay, so I'm going to go back here, and let's see what this looks like. I want to change this so you can actually see it better. On your end. Sure. Is this going to affect everything? I think it is. Oh no, that's the middle divider. Okay. Okay, so let's watch this again. So So for that, I should have not just engaged in that fight, because I clearly could not see where they're at, and I was just kind of randomly guessing, okay, what should I do for this? So I probably should have just built up and waited to see where the shots were coming from in the movement without exposing myself by staying up on this hill right here. Okay, so right here, if we watch this in slower motion, so I got built in by that guy, and I did not know that they were over here behind me. I tried building to prevent them from being able to get me, but the thing that I probably should have done right there is built some stairs or a cone or floors, because they were low enough that, if we back up a little bit, they were low enough down here that I could have built anything, any kind of flat surface, whether it was the floor or the ceiling and I would have been okay, or the cone. Because he was moving backwards. And instead, that kind of delayed me building this. So that just wasn't the best strategy. And then I thought they were right here. But if you look, looks like they jump and got me. So good play on their behalf, but good thing to learn. Let's see. N6 Aqua. Interesting. I appreciate the follow, but the follow for follow thing doesn't really work too well. Because if you think about it, the people who are going to like the TikTok, you really got to hope that they actually really like that particular content. Because if they don't like that content, then you're going to get a bunch of empty subscribers or followers, depending on what platform you're on. And then they're not actually going to continue to engage in your content. So like on YouTube, for instance, the thing that matters most is like audience retention and whatnot. So what you really want to do is like make quality content so people will actually watch all the way through, because it doesn't matter how many subscribers you have. What matters is how much of the videos they watch and how many videos that they watch. But anyways, okay, so that was my first death. Let's take a look at this next one. And let me back up. Okay, so I started here. I landed. There was uncontested. Nothing going on for a whole bunch. I appreciate it, Aqua. Thank you. So I was moving around the outskirts around this entire area, and then finally got into an engagement right here. So let's see what happened, what I can learn from this mistake. Okay, so beam dim. Really good idea of putting up that metal wall. I would have continued to push with the SMG. My aim right here was terrible. Oh, didn't expect that. So he went up, which was great. He got height. I just kept trying to find him, but like with the builds and with the hill, they were just getting lost in this area. So right here, I'm watching and just kind of waiting to see what they end up doing. Let me fast forward a little bit. And they're just hanging out here. Now, the reason why I'm not attacking them is because I was not sure like who's to my left. So, well, I guess on your screen, it'd be this side. So I didn't want to get shot over here, and I knew that people were up over there. So I continued to watch him and just waited until the storm started to close, because he starts to move, if I remember correctly, a little early. We're both playing for placement. Yes, we were. Like, I'm afraid of pushing this dude. So look at this. So I knew there was a bunch of people right over here. So like 3 cars driving around. This is a build tournament, so they could jump out, build, gain height, etc. And then there's this dude right here. And then there's another guy who's like shooting up in a tower. So this was like a heavily contested area. I don't want to get shot from behind by all these other dudes. Okay, so that guy's in. So he starts to move. I didn't really want to engage, because there's this like, if this was just like a pub and not a tournament, then it would have been fine. Like, there probably, 1, wouldn't have been 20 people at the end. But 2, I was afraid that this guy would open the window, or the people who are fighting over here, or even maybe somebody up here was going to shoot. So I was trying to play more conservatively, but looking at this now, like, just the fact that I'm poking my head up and over while aiming with the ACOG, the burst, is just like, I'm exposed. If I was doing the over-the-shoulder view instead, and just like staying crouched and low, then it would have limited who would have been able to have like nailed me with just like a single shot, like with a sniper or something. So overall, just not a good strategy. Like, that double-sided build right there could have opened a window and just shot me. Hey, Taco, how you doing today? Okay. So I do push in a moment once the storm gets to me. But this guy knows I'm here because I was engaging with him. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do a try build, but that's going to get me up, and I don't necessarily want to get too high because then there's going to be fall damage. I screw up the builds here, so I try restarting again. But if you look, like, this guy had the window open. This guy has a window open. I know for a fact there's at least 2, if not 3 people over here. So overall, like, I'm putting myself in a position where at least my right side, I think, is not going to have an attack. But I should have done a better job, like maybe even just tunneled, because I had so many mats, like just going straight through here. That way I could have covered my left, because right now I'm only covering the front side, which is just not going to do it, as you'll see pretty shortly. So he starts shooting. I frantically try and build. I try and take this guy so I can, like, narrow the number of people. But again, look, I'm keeping this entire area exposed. I should have built a wall there to protect myself from what was eventually going to happen. So I push. See, I get nailed right here from the left. That's no good. Nailed. Getting shot from there, but then this guy is jumping out and jumping down. So now he's on the right side. Right here. And so now I'm getting shot from this side, from behind me, and there's still the person up on the top left. So, like, overall, this was just not well thought out. And you can see by the panic on my face. So I tried to take him, but I honestly don't know how they broke through this without me noticing that. So, like, let's rewind this a little bit. Like, at what point... Okay, so it's right there. So you can see how the stairs are still there. I'm so engaged. All I hear is the gunfire right here, and I'm not paying attention to the fact that my back is now exposed to this person. And so they're able to just take free points off of me. So let's skip to the reflection. So what should I have done differently there? So I definitely panicked. There were 3 people who were shooting independently, and I believe it was the person behind me that ultimately got me. I probably should have used something other than wood on that last part. Yeah, that would have helped. That, for the stairs at least. Surrounded by different people, just to give myself some stronger cover. I probably could have pushed that person who was in the storm with me more. They seemed like they were also nervous or hesitant. Yeah. It's my thinking face. Than that, like, I feel like the overall strategy of going to here paid off really well in terms of getting basically maxed on mats by the time I got to, like, here. Yeah, I agree. So this was a good placement. And tacos, to answer your question. So let's go here. So not good. Overall, a total of 42 points. So I only got 5 eliminations. The best round that I did was 12th, and then the worst that I did was 71st. But overall, I was at least in the top 50, which for the first time doing a tournament is a decent starting place. At least it's better than, like, the top 75 or something. So I'm reflecting on it on this stream to try and figure out, okay, what can I do differently for next time? Because hopefully I'll have the time to do this, like, consistently each Saturday, and then be able to go through and track, like, okay, well, next weekend, what was my placements? How do I do? Am I better in terms of starting, or am I better for finishing, etc.? So hopefully this data will help me with that. And then going through these reflections, I plan on doing this, like, each time I finish a tournament, to think of, okay, what could I do better and improve upon it and whatnot. Thanks, Taco. I appreciate it. So let's go here again. Okay, so this next one. So I drop early and I land right on the docks. Okay, yeah. So this one's interesting. So if you'll notice right here, I see a person. I notice him while I'm doing this, but I'm like, okay, I need to heal up. They see me. I knew they saw me because they were sitting and they had the right angle peek. So they were clearly watching me. So they were probably hoping to get some kind of a drop on me and whatnot, which was smart. It was good that I used all of the heals that I could. That snipe could have wrecked me if they nailed a headshot. I think they had a gold. Surprise. Oh no. I totally screwed up there. I was trying to build stairs and go up higher, but I did not warm up with any of these types of builds at all. I was basically only warming up with tunneling. So this was just trying to get myself more cover. It was smart for the guy to go through the window here. Trying to get height. And I got stuck. I didn't realize that there was going to be builds right above my head. It was good that I was trying to get more height, but they were clearly healing, getting back up to a higher health. I think they just used a med kit, or at least was attempting to. So it was great that I was able to win this one, but if I skip, whoops, to right about here. Something better. Oh, that helps. Okay, decent distance. I start going for mats. I wonder where that guy landed. Maybe in the grove just up over there. And so I'm getting all of these. Everything's fine, everything's fine. Okay, I should go back and get that. Here's where I made a mistake. See that? Hey. Wrecked. Alright, so the reflection on this one. Like that. Okay, so I think I got 1 point for that round, 2 points. I guess in terms of things I could have learned from that, I should have done a better job of being more aware of my surroundings. And I probably should have been harvesting that metal from inside of the container rather than from the outside. Right. Because then it at least closes off like 80% of the different directions that they could shoot me from. Yeah, I think that would help. Yeah, so like looking at this again, I had all the opportunity to just continue to mine from inside of here, and I was not checking my surroundings. And so I just get nailed. Like, that was the perfect opportunity for that person. They could see I'd gone through like 3 containers just sitting there on that same location, and then was just continuing to stand there. So I guess when I'm harvesting, I need to move around a lot more, and I need to check my surroundings a lot more. So that's my lesson learned for that. Okay, so the next round. Hello again, Jared. So on this one, where did I land? Okay, so I landed by the island on this little mansion. And then what happened? Ah, okay. I already know what's about to happen. This place, almost the entire exterior, you can harvest metal off of. Ooh. Oh, wait. Confused faced. I was trying to switch to my mini, but messed that up. That's why I randomly fired the sniper right there. Okay, so reflection. It seemed like that shot came from the water, which I was not expecting at all, like as a viable point. Huh. Well, now I know. Like, one of the reasons why I like that place is because I assumed nobody was going to be attacking you from the east side, but, well, that proved me wrong. Well done. I'm not even mad. Okay, so, yeah, this location, if we watch it, like, this place, the person was clearly over here. Almost the entire exterior. You can harvest metal off of. But I had no clue that somebody could shoot from right here. So I was extremely confused. And so when I built to the right because I assumed, okay, they had to have been coming from the shore side, not from the water side, like the island. So super confused there, but now I know because I've never actually landed at that drop before. And then I messed up again, obviously with accidentally shooting that instead of the mini. But what I should have done right here was build up. I should have done like a 3-part build in terms of a ramp to provide myself some cover, because when I'm jumping up here, like mantling up, like this just leaves me entirely exposed. And so he's shooting at me, and thankfully he's missing me for the first few bullets. But then, again, it leaves me far too exposed while I'm doing this. So overall, that was just like not a good strategy in terms of trying to get height on this person. Another thing that I could have done is just like it's like a corkscrew 90 instead of building like a ramp like this. So that way I can try and give myself some cover while doing that. So lesson learned on that one. Okay, so when I zoom forward a bit, let's see where I start on this next one. So on this next one, I accidentally jumped early. So, oh yeah, people were going to cuddle. So I went to right here. And you'll notice I did not use my splashes, which was a huge mistake on my part. Trying to see if I can make this a little bigger. There we go. Is that... No, now I can't even move this. Okay. Let's continue this. Where'd this guy go? Where were the footsteps? Okay. Here's where I made a mistake on this. So with this particular one, you can see the footsteps hard right. Now, the thing that I associated with this was, oh, this is right around here, like pointing over in that direction. But really, this is like a kind of a weird radial turn. So they were actually like way over here. So it was really hard right, as opposed to across the way. So I thought they were inside of this bush, which is why I just kept looking like at the bushes to figure out where they at. I swear I saw footsteps. You did, Jared. They're up there. Dang. Okay, so let's watch the reflection real quick. The thing that I really should have done differently there is I should have just used those as soon as I got them. I was in a bad location. I had not great weapons. Even before I knew somebody was there, I saw the footsteps, and I should have definitely switched over to the combat SMG, just because with that coming around from behind, it would have been better at that range than the AR that I was using. I thought they were at the bush that was across the road, and so the AR would have been much better for that if they tried to push me, but my visualized sound effects threw me off. That it did. I was looking for them in a different location. Oop. Okay, done with the talking. Yeah, so here I am. Got my AR out. So again, because of the visualized sound effects, I thought they were over here, but I kept looking to the right because it was like, maybe they crossed. I was like, are they in the other bush? And because they were crouching, didn't have the visualized sound effects expose where they at. But I had my AR out when what I really needed to do was pull out my SMG or my pistol at this range. I should have done a quick swap, especially going up against the blue stinger. So lesson learned with that one. Okay, so the next one, when I was on here, where did I start? Okay, yeah, so I went to the mansion here, and so I landed. I got full health. I learned from my mistake. Then just hold on to that. And then all of a sudden, that happens. Cool. Where's that from? Good question, Jared. Okay, so sneaking around, crouching, just in case they pushed. Got the right-hand peek here. Went into this bush so I could get better vantage point, be able to see where they're at. There's up there. There you are. That's what I thought. If I only got one more shot off, he would have died. So overall, I was happy with that. But let's see. Could I have seen him? Like, is he up? Is that him right there? Maybe? Yeah, I think so. I mean, was that shot even at me? Yeah, it sounded like it was. Because it sounded like it hit right behind me. Okay, so I don't die. I don't kill the guy. But overall, it was a good strategy of trying to get that right-hand peek on that wall and going into the bush to have that visual cover. So I get in the car, go into zone. Doing good so far. This one I get pretty far into it. I just continue to move. I get into another bush. This gives me an excellent vantage point. I knew there was somebody at the gas station, at least one person. And so this gave me the height that I wanted so I could provide some overwatch and just kind of see where they're at. They push, and then, whoops. Because I knew he was healing, like, again, when you're in this mode with so many people, 24 people in a relatively small area, you can't leave any of these walls exposed like that. So that was their mistake, and I'm sure they learned that lesson, because I had a, like, total sight over them the entire time that they were just sitting right there. And because I knew they were healing, I knew they would not be able to move because it looked like they were popping a mini or like a big or something. If it was like the med mist, then they could have had the opportunity to like move around or even like a fish. But this one looked a little bit longer, so I took advantage of that. How long have I been a YouTuber? Jared, I've been a YouTuber technically for a very long time, like many, many years. I started creating content like a decade ago, but I didn't really start to take it seriously until a few years ago. So I create content for a channel called Boot Up. So I create computer science content. Actually, I can just pull it up so you can see it. So the CS content is... So if you go here onto my channel, and if you go all the way down to the bottom right here to Boot Up, I create all of these videos like to teach kids and adults how to program stuff. So like this one has like 130,000 views. And so I'm showing you how to create a timer with variables and whatnot. So I've been creating content on this channel on Boot Up for a while now, but recently started creating like gaming content on my channel. So like if you go onto here and you click on this gaming content, then it shows like all the videos that I've been creating recently. And I actually started streaming on Twitch in November, maybe December of this past year, and then started multi-streaming on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube like a week ago. So relatively new to the streaming side of things, but I've been creating content on YouTube for a wee bit, not just on my channel, but on some other channels. So hopefully that answers your question. All right, so let's go back to here real quick. So nailed the dude. He's still hanging out there. This person flies in, and they're low. So, because they were sliding and whatnot, like, they did not move and jump. And so, I just it was a matter of just tracking them, and that was an easy kill. No disrespect to them when I say that. Just like, it was, I didn't have to work for that. Point and click. It was a good idea for them to try and do some kind of movement. The problem is they're sliding uphill. So no matter what they were doing, they're going to be moving slow. And they were in a compressed area that just like allowed me to laser them. Okay, so Next up, I think another guy does the exact same thing. So the guy that I was aiming at, I'm pretty sure he takes it. Yeah. Okay, so he comes in. I don't think he was expecting me. I'm trying to build to get height. He's got height, so I'm trying to provide myself some cover. I'm doing okay at that. However, while I was doing this, he just bounced, which I guess was smart. Thanks, Jared. I really appreciate it. If you got any kind of like feedback on things that I could do to try and improve myself at streaming, please let me know, because I am trying to get better every single time I do this, which is why I do like these stream reflections and game reflections, and I go back and watch like all my streams to try and figure out, okay, what could I have done differently? How can I improve? And I do notice that since I started 4 or 5 months ago, that it has gotten significantly better. But okay, so that was basically the end of the encounter there. This dude bounces, and I decide to play the zone, so I go get some cover on the edge right here, which was a good strategy. It kept me out on the edge, away from everybody else. It happened to start to close on my area right here, so I didn't have to worry about moving too much. I did notice that guy that was in there, and because I was keeping track of him, I realized that, hey, there's somebody in this bush. So I figure I might as well take advantage of the fact that this person is completely exposed. And if they start to build, my guess is that this person would start to attack as well. And so then they'd be pinched from both sides. So that was the theory, at least. Okay, so speed up a little bit. Okay, so one of the things that I love about the infrared is just like, it's a laser. When you point, it is not going to have like very much recoil compared to like even the ACOG, the burst. Like, this is an ideal weapon for this particular range and what I'm trying to do here with attacking this person. And again, I'm trying to get them exposed so that way I can either get the kill or this person will also start attacking them as well. Not so great on the aim. So they notice that this is going on. And because of that, this person starts to build. And because they're now distracted, just like I was earlier when I had people on 2 different sides from me, now I can take advantage of this. And as soon as I see an opening, like when this wall gets broken, then I can spray. And then confirm the kill when I finally get my aim back. Okay. Okay, so speeding up. I knew I had cover right there from that particular movement, but it was definitely a risky play because of the builds right here. Like, I could have been lasered by anybody who happened to be looking that way, so I was keeping my finger basically on my stairs to help build that cover right in front of me. But I mess up right here with this guy who notices me. See that? So I built myself into my own build on accident. What I was trying to do was build a cone right here. See how it's right there above me? It builds, and then it builds the second cone right here. And that is not what I was trying to do. It totally threw me off. All right, let's see what the review was. Oh, you know what? That was muted. You can't hear my voice. Dang. Oh, well. Okay, so that time I actually did pretty good. Top 12, so. Or at least better. I don't think there was another reflection outside of that. Okay, so let's go back here. So again, this movement was good. It happened to work in my favor. It was very risky because I could have had any of these people just open up a window and just nail me. So here, I realize this guy can see me. I build my cone, and then I accidentally build myself in, and at that point, I just completely panic because I don't have enough confidence in my keyboard and mouse abilities yet, because I was a console player for years. Like, I played this when it first came out on controller, and then only switched to keyboard and mouse a few months ago. And so I don't have that muscle memory that I had with using my thumbs and fingers and whatnot. So I just completely choked right here. I started to recover, and my aim with my SMG was significantly better than it has been like even a month ago. Like, most of those were right on where I wanted it to be, but ooh, good shot. Yeah, obviously wasn't good enough. Okay. So overall, good play though. So on this one, and that was the best that I got with it. So the reason why I don't play on controller is because you have more granular motion with the keyboard and mouse. So actually, I got my PlayStation right here. So with my controller, when I'm playing with this, let me make so you can actually see it. So I only have this amount of motion to get from like a quick flick, or to be able to fine tune being able to move, and just like if I wanted to shoot right here versus right here, that's going to be such a small motion. But if I want to get all the way across the screen, like I've got basically a small amount of distance that I can actually move. And so this makes it so that when I have my mouse, I actually can move it significantly more without having to worry about it. So like to get all the way across the screen, I might only have like, I don't know, an inch if it's from left side of the controller to the right to get all the way over to here. But here I've got much more motion with my hand moving it across like this. It also makes it so that instead of only being able to use 2 fingers at a time, I can use, with the like different motions, I can use significantly more and map them out much closer. So like one of the things that I would do when I was playing on controller was I mapped out my jump button to my L3. So this button right here. And the reason why I was doing that is because when I was jumping, like if I was playing, I wanted to be able to move with my L3 and be able to jump at the same time, while making it so that I could use my R3 to actually look around. Normally, the way it's like auto mapped, you have to like press X or something in order to jump. So what that does is it allows you to move and jump and fire, but it does not allow you to actually aim while you're doing this. So with the keyboard and mouse, I have one hand dedicated entirely to aiming and whatnot, and I'm able to map all these other buttons on my mouse to different things. So like I've got shoot, I've got my right button right here, I've got 2 different thumb buttons right here. So this allows me to actually do like an edit, a quick edit with the top of my thumb, or I can build my floor right here. I can do all sorts of like other little things that I could not do with this, and it makes it so that I have more control while I'm playing instead of the controller. I guess pun intended there. So that's why I do that. But another thing that I've noticed is that on PlayStation, which is what I was streaming on PS5, is my builds were limited to like 60, or if you go into performance mode, 120 frames a second. But on here, if you actually like zoom in a bit, you can sort of see this. So right here, my frames are 183 as the low and 203 as the high. So like it's around 200, 240, etc. So I'm able to get faster frames per second, and because this monitor can handle this that I'm doing it on, I'm actually able to like basically update the builds and see the builds faster than somebody who's playing on a console. So yes, on console you have like the aim assist and whatnot, but on PC, as long as your aim is okay, like you're going to be able to see things that a console player cannot and be able to react much faster. So like when I'm doing builds, let's see, let me show you some build practice I was doing at the beginning. So this build practice is significantly faster. Feel free to add that in the comments than what I could do on a controller. So like this is watching this on rather, because I am. Let me mute this. So this is me doing this at normal speed, and if I were to try and do this on console, it just would not happen, at least for me. I don't have the ability. Like, I know some people like, who's it, like Mongrel, are fantastic on console. But again, you have that limited amount of motion and range with the thumb compared to when you're actually using a keyboard and mouse. Like, you're able to get so much more control over your playing with that. So that's a very long-winded answer of why I basically don't play with a controller. Even though it looks better on, like, PS5, like some of my older streams when I was still on the PS5, I had the keyboard plugged into the PS5, and this looks significantly better, like the quality of the graphics, etc. However, there's an input delay. When you put in the controller or the keyboard and mouse, it doesn't, like when you build, there's like a slight delay on it, and then again, you're still limited to the 60 or the 120 frames per second compared to like the 200 some odd that I'm able to get on here. Anyways, I hope that helped to answer your question. Okay, so this was the one that I just watched. Yeah. Okay, so this next one. So I went back to this spot. This was an excellent drop that I was able to get to with lots of hard mats. But the problem with this is somebody else landed right here. In fact, I think 2 people landed right there. So I got a thermal, and I was able to troll them a little bit, and then I just bounced after I hit them. So I went towards the mansion to try and get some more weapons and whatnot. Hopefully some more heals. There was a guy who heard me who was in the mansion, so I just kind of hung out here for a bit. He kept trying to find me, and he wasn't able to. So I just kind of stayed around the edges. I used the water and a boat to just kind of hang out on the outside edge and just built myself in right here to heal up. And then again, because within these tournaments, the placement gives you more points than the kills. Unless you're getting like 20 kills in a tournament, it makes more sense to just try and last as long as you possibly can rather than like dropping tilted and trying to get as many kills as you possibly can. So the theory that I had was, okay, people, 1, are probably not going to be looking out here, but 2, this allows me to just kind of stay off the radar, and like nobody's going to come from behind me because they're not going to be swimming back here. So it limits the amount of engagements that I'll run into hanging out here. So this strategy ended up like working okay. And so I moved over to the blimp because this was on the outside edge. And when I was hanging out on the blimp, then this happened. Let me do this. So I saw footsteps. I started shooting. This person, I think, had a better ping than I. I don't know what happened there. All of a sudden, I just like teleported on top of that thing when I was trying to jump. Huh. Just trying to see what else I said. All right, 31 points. Pretty anticlimactic ending. I need to watch that back on the replay when I go back and review this to kind of like learn from the mistakes and whatnot to figure out like what happened there. Like watch it on the top right. Was it my frames were too low? Was it the internet? Maybe it was just a server issue. I don't know. Let's find out. Okay, so I blend in pretty good right here. Frames are good right now. Okay, so this person, if they were to get so many builds in, I jump up. And then here's where it gets weird. See that? I tried mantling, but like, I guess that broke or something. It distracted me. Like, maybe they just edited. Ah, that's what happened. So they edited, but because they did this kind of an edit and there was nothing below it to support it, it wasn't actually connected to anything, so it started to fall. So I was trying to mantle and jump, but I guess this like messed up the jump a little bit, which is why it like glitched for a second right here and confused me. The other thing that I screwed up on here was that it looked to me like they were moving to my left, so to their right. So they were going that way, I thought, but in reality they were over on the other side from where I was looking. So the reason why I was mantling up there was because I was trying to get to them to hit them while they were trying to take height, but in fact, they just went to the right hand and they went to low ground. Not expected, but it was a play that ended up working well. So maybe they made a mistake or something, but yeah, kind of a weird happening. But on this one, I got 32nd, which, like, for the first tournament, that was fine. Overall, happy with the performance. Okay, so the next one, let's see where I land on this. So on this one, I go back to the same location. Again, there's a lot of metal that you can get there, tons of brick. Somebody else landed lower than I, so I, again, went to the same outside edge, following through over here. So this dude, this is funny. He was trying to shoot me, but, like, completely exposed there, shooting into a bush that provides cover. I just, it's not a good idea to do that. I highly recommend not doing what this person was doing, because they had their head poking out the entire time. They weren't moving too much, and I could just sit here and assume that he couldn't see me, and then just nail him like that. Okay, so I ended up leaving that guy. I was gonna just kind of like see if there were more things that I could get over here, like more mats and whatnot, and then try and flank around him. But this ended up happening. Oh, and I should preface this. So whenever I slide into a bush or I'm running into a bush, one of the strategies that I've been using is I'll switch to my SMG or a shotgun if need be. The SMG I like to use at first because I can assume that somebody is going to be hiding in a bush, especially when it gets into late game and whatnot. And so I want to have something that can spray so I can try and figure out where are they at if they actually start to hear movement or start to see somebody. And then I can switch to the shotgun really quickly in order to try and like take them out once I get close enough to them and can see where they're at. So I switched to the SMG right here and ran straight into him.
Turns out I was correct.
So that worked out really well for me. However, okay, so after I get some more mats and some ammo, there's this boat that's leaving. I think this boat draws somebody else to come closer because this person comes in. He's like one shot right here. So he frantically builds up. I try and build, but I keep screwing up right here. Like, look at that. So I was trying to build so that I could get higher, and I just kept falling. Like, I believe I do this like 2 or 3 times. And then I got stuck, like, under that tree. This was just sloppy. He's got all this time to heal.
Knock a tree onto him or something.
So he gets height again. I should have built to get higher, but then I fall.
That was bad.
He sees probably the visual indicator that I'm healing and decides to push.
Dang it.
Smart move.
What are you doing?
So let's see what the reflection was.
I should push that dude, but I kept building and falling, and man, nerves are getting to me, I guess. I didn't think I was that nervous while playing, but like, I'm just playing poorly.
Truth.
Watch this again.
To figure out, okay, what can I do differently? And then how can I try and simulate that kind of nervousness or
Anxiety or whatever, and then practice through it. Like in that one, my builds were off. I wasn't able to connect with things when I was trying to mantle up. Like, I just kept falling. And so that dude was able to just kind of get the heals off. Dang.
Yeah, so I agree, Taco. One of the things I also realized that I need to work on is doing if you're up really high, being able to drop down a couple of levels while building like wall, and then stairs, and then do that again, wall, stairs. I'm really bad at that. So I've been trying to practice that as well, because, yeah, like if I were to get height, I'm going to lose on that. But with this one, what was interesting going into this tournament, I had practiced for tunneling. So, like, if you look at the beginning of this particular stream, I was just in a world where all I was really doing was just tunneling and just practicing doing this over and over. And so I was doing this like for an hour or two before the stream started because I had never actually worked up tunneling, like not sat down and really worked through it. And what I probably should have done is worked on 1v1s. So there's a mode in here on Fortnite that allows you to really just practice over and over just getting into 1v1s. And that would have been significantly better. So what I'm going to work on between now and like the next tournament on next Saturday is probably 75% of my time focusing on the 1v1s so I can survive these encounters and make it to the late game. But then the remaining 25% of the time, I'm probably going to focus specifically on just like builds and edit practice and whatnot, just so I can continue to improve those. I think that will give me the best return. So that way when I'm doing this, I'm not placing like in the middle of the pack, but instead I'm like hopefully surviving until the end. Should 1v1 my friends? Yeah, Jared. So I do that. One of the friends that I stream with, Dr. Neurolab, he doesn't really like doing the 1v1s as much as I do. Like I'd probably spend the majority of my stream just doing that. But I need to do it more. Or even like some zone wars or something. Like I think that would also be good for me. But it's better practice to do that because it allows you to just quickly respawn, try it again, respawn, try it again. You get like those 10 rounds back to back really fast, as opposed to when you go into a game, you might go like 10, 15 minutes and then finally find somebody. And then all of a sudden you're able to practice your 1v1. Like that amount of time of just like harvesting things and collecting weapons is a complete waste of time compared to like actually being able to just practice these engagements. How has Neuro been? You haven't seen him in a while. Yeah, okay, so Taco, Neuro was sick, so, and I got sick as well. So, like, he and I were both not streaming for a bit because he wasn't feeling good. But he's actually in town right now, but he's leaving back to where he lives tomorrow. So, maybe he'll be on tomorrow night, but most likely probably, like, Wednesday evening. So he's been good, but he's been in Arizona for like the last week and a half or two. So we actually were hanging out in person for a bit, which is partially why my streaming schedule has been messed up. And then which is also why like, yeah, he hasn't been streaming. Okay, so where was I? This one. Okay, so let's check out. I think there's one more round. No, 2, 3 more. Okay, they're quick. Okay, so on this one, where do I land? Okay, this one was interesting. So I'm landing here. I decided to take the zip because it'd be faster. This guy also lands. I think he's about to get a pistol, but it turns out it's just ammo. So it's just a race to get to this SMG. Look at that aim. I think the sliding is what allowed me to win right there because I was able to get there faster with the sprint. But this aim, I'm just like all over the place. I don't know about that. Okay, so zoom in forward. I'm staying around the outside. I'm able to get a good amount on mats. Like, look at this, 500, 500, 200. That's great for early game. So I'm moving up through bush to bush, going up through the middle of the valley. This one I did okay on the placement. So I get into the desert zone. Just kind of tracking that guy. Decide to not pursue him. But right here... sorry, bro. I start getting shot at. There's a guy right there. I noticed that now, but I didn't realize that at the time. Do I watch soccer? I actually do not. I did play soccer when I was younger, though. So I'm engaging this dude, which was just a bad idea. I should have built and given myself some cover. Like, anyone could have shot me from anywhere. I was not doing anything to protect myself. That was just really sloppy. I start to collect these eggs, but then notice, oh, there's footsteps. And I hear somebody building. So I try to build right here, but because of the angle of the roof, it messes me up, so I can't provide myself some cover. So what I should have done was built the floor first and then try and build the stairs so I could have given myself some cover. So this was just like amateur hour right here. God, I wouldn't build. Dude pushes and just nails me. Drum shotgun, I mean, that was excellent. So let's see what the reflection was here. What'll be interesting is like to come back to this in like a year and just to see like how my placement is in these different cups and whatnot. Because I am planning on practicing this stuff, so I'm not just playing the game. Like I'm actually sitting down and trying to refine skills and trying to improve over time. Yeah, you could just play the game and you'll eventually get better over time, but I'm being very deliberate about how I'm playing. Now, unfortunately, everything I worked on today in terms of all the tunneling and all that, I haven't even got to a point where I would need that at the very end. Like, it's just, I'm dying before I get to that. So everything I was like kind of warming up on and working on is not really applying here. At least not right now. But that's okay. It was a good practice for me. I'm glad I spent the time working on it. Yeah, so about that. Cool. Jared, I'm glad you still play soccer. I enjoyed it, but I ended up stopped doing it because I ended up moving to a different town, so I didn't know anybody that was on the team, so just kind of stopped. I actually know somebody who went and got a full scholarship for soccer. He lived on my street. So there's a lot of cool things you can do playing sports. Okay, so what can I learn here? One, when I'm on a roof, like look at all this time I was trying to build and it was just like denying me right here. So this was just my bad. I should have just kept building, not gone straight on the house. Not building, still not building, can't do anything. I get nailed. Like, look at that, I'm down to what, 92 health? And then I'm finally able to build? Yikes. I should have also used those splashes. But that guy just pushed so fast that I just wasn't able to really respond to it. Alright, so then I have one last game, I think. So on this one... So I land low. I was trying to aim for that mark, and I just totally misjudged that. I was like, oh, okay, I can take the zip line. Nope, not even close. So I land here. I actually get some good stuff, like a blue ACOG. I'll take that. I get some heals. There's plenty of mats right along here. Things are going good. Not running into anyone yet. And then I get to here. 400-ish meters. Okay, so I hear some fighting going on. I see this indicator that somebody's on the zip. And so I'm debating, should I shoot them? See if I can get them. But I also notice people are building right here. So, okay, now there's suddenly 3 people right around me. I can't just engage in a 1v1 because I might get third-partied. I'm trying to get to this bush right here, and the reason why I'm trying to do that is because I know they're going to have to go this way. Like, you'll notice the map right here. So it's showing that I need to get in closer to a better vantage point. And so they're going to likely come this way, and if they're hurt, even though they're siphon and whatnot, like, then I can take advantage of that scenario and potentially engage them while they're in cover. The problem is, I'm moving away from 3 people, and now I'm moving towards this car. Closer. Or I think it was a truck, semi, yep. And I was hoping he wouldn't have seen me. But I should have gone around the right side of this hill rather than going onto the cusp of it. Because he did see me. Did you get out? And so he starts pushing me. I don't know how to shoot him from inside of there. If anyone's got some suggestions on that. So we're just at a stalemate at this point. We going for a ride? Okay. Appreciate the lift. See, I can't hit him. So he's gonna jump out right when I'm about to blow up the car. It was smart of him to do this. So it blows up on me. I take damage. Fall damage as well. It's on fire right here. You are the better player. So now I'm taking fire damage. Oh no. And then I got stuck under the builds. So he was building me. That was smart. Well done. And then I die. Not even mad.
I'm impressed. Yeah, so they kept me in the box underneath while it was on fire, so that was smart. It was going to do dots on damage over time. And then, yeah, they just had complete advantage over the entire scenario, even when getting pressured third party.
Jared, how do you break the windshield? I appreciate the tip. Like right here, would I have had to have been in front and shot it out? Because like if I'm inside the passenger seat, how am I able to do it from here? Because like this thing is like the sun visor. So like I don't know if I would be able to shoot it from here. Like from a car, like I was watching Nick A30 earlier today and he jumped into a car or a truck and he was able to actually see people from here. But like in the semi, I couldn't do anything. At least it felt like I couldn't do anything. So I don't know. Maybe I need to look that up. I should have also right here. Did you get out? Shot at him. What I was hoping for was that I could get in here and see him and then shoot him from in here. And so I wanted him to stay inside of the truck because I wanted him to assume that he was going to run me over. But what I was really trying to do was just like jump into the vehicle as soon as he got to me. Okay, so yeah, the passenger seat in a car. Don't know how to do that in a semi. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe next time Nero and I jump on, maybe I'll try and figure that out. Like, what can you do in a semi-truck? Okay. So yeah, my overall placement, like, I did not do great with the placement, but I did not do terrible. Like, this was my first time going into any kind of a tournament, and I learned a lot from it. Like, what I'll end up doing after the stream is I'll, like, write down some things that I learned from here, and then let's see how I do next Saturday with this particular one. So what I'm going to do now, make this bigger, is I'm actually going to call it for this particular stream. I know this wasn't gameplay, but I wanted to just kind of share my thoughts for what I've been working on. So this is about 62 minutes, and it was morning, and technically Fortnite. That's a good idea, Jared. I should practice in creative with the windshield. I might have to do that later. Maybe when I jump on tomorrow. Let's see. I think this was educational for myself going through this, so that was kind of the overall vibe. I was pretty focused while doing this. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to rate my quality of the content, so like what I was talking about, but then also the quality of how I was as a streamer, like how engaging was I, etc. So I will ask the same from you, anyone who's in the chat. I see I've got 3 viewers split across the different platforms. So if you want to like give some feedback on what could I do to improve my streaming or the things that I'm talking about or narrating, I'm happy to listen to that feedback and kind of jot that down. So, informational. I felt like the stream was focused. I learned from this process. I'll do this again for sure after each one of my tournaments. I think it's a good idea to go back and reflect on these so I can continue to improve and try and get these numbers better. In terms of my streaming, I felt like I was responsive to the chat and conversational overall. Good at narrating my thoughts. So one of the things that I like on, like Nick A30 does this really well. Sometimes some other streamers I watch are good at this, but they will narrate out loud, like, here's what I'm thinking, here's why I'm doing this. And I tried to do that in yesterday's stream while I was doing the tournament. but also just kind of like after the fact, being able to share, here's the thought processes behind what I was doing in this moment if it was going too quick. So hopefully that helps with your own gaming, with whether it's Fortnite or whatever, and just trying to think of things to work on and whatnot. But I don't see any feedback in the chat. Know that in the future, if you've got any feedback, I'll do this at the end of each one of my streams. But I appreciate everybody who stopped by. Again, Aqua, I appreciate the follow. And Taco and Jared, I appreciate the conversations across the different platforms. But I